from hook. She takes a drink, and it's going to be a drop ball to restart play down at left back as Manly United see it. Cabezas plays it back to Draver. Draver being pursued by Holder, had to clear it only as far as Johnson. Ball spills. Manette just slide through into your Horsley. Can't find her. Garlich will follow the ball, and rolling on the synthetic, it does find its way over the line. Play the decision down in the corner instead. Volley into the box, headed away by Williams. Camilleri. Smith able to take the ball from it. Camilleri. Quick 1-2 with Mostagimi. This is better from the Western City Rangers. Can they at least finish on a high note with a goal? No, says Grace Arnold. She breaks through, takes possession, and now benches forward. Playing it over to the right. Robinson, one of the triple sub for Manly United, trying to return the pass out to the wing and can't quite connect with Grace Arnold. It's become a bit more adventurous as the game has gone on. The centre back got forward and took the corner, which resulted in the third goal. Edge of the box, Manette able to take Mostagimi to ground, but illegally according to the referee. And again, the pursuit of a goal continues to evade the Manly attacker. Kirstanovska being kept honest by Gentle. It's the twin target attack here for Manly United up top at the moment. Bit of grabbing and grappling going on. Jackson thought she was fouled. Referee right on the scene. Let's play unfold. Smith, Jackson, return ball. Smith flicks it back out to Jackson. Pops the ball into the box and maybe just a little hurried, but it must have caught a deflection because it is out for a corner. So with 2 minutes of regulation to go, United again have another chance to add to their 3 in the bank. Arnold taking the corners from both sides. Making sure that the ball is set precisely to her liking, and so here comes the corner kick for Manly. Arnold in at the near post and all the way in. Direct from the corner. It is 4 for Manly United. And Grace Arnold adds a goal to her assist in this second half. And it is a healthy boost to the goal difference for the home side on Good Friday. First goal of the season for Arnold. It's come in somewhat unexpected circumstances, direct from a corner kick. And it makes it Manly United 4, Western City Rangers 0.
Goal to Manly United. Well, there you are, ladies and gentlemen. Olympioko goal from number 3, Grace Arnold. Manly United 4, Western City Rangers 0.
So that goal coming in the 89th minute. It's going to take us right to stoppage time. Robinson. Manly United not satisfied with 4. They want another one before the day is done. Here goes Gilbane. Does she win a corner? Yes, she does. So Manly United with no let up here. They've got a team on the canvas in the Western City Rangers, and they are looking to punish here. They would have been so disappointed with conceding 4 goals to Avia Leichhardt last week. And they've hit back with 4 of their own against the Western City Rangers today. They'll go into the rest of their long weekend looking up the table, hoping to separate themselves from the mid-table morass. We're going to have a late yellow card here for Mostagimi for kicking the ball away. So it's taken until stoppage time, but second yellow card of the game, and the first for a Western City Rangers player as Mostagimi joins Richards in the book. Has been, for the most part, a pretty well-behaved game, even with some of the physicality. So a late set piece here for Manly United. The crowd has swelled over the course of the game. It's part of the doubleheader that's on today. Anyone who's arrived late has missed a pretty good showing from the home team here. They may not have missed all the goals. Here's Arnold from the free kick, landing it in the 6-yard box. And as it slides through the penalty area, Western City Rangers through Hyun, first to the spill. India Horsley, little drag step. And another. Ultimately, maybe looking in Ciara to win a corner kick. So the last one found a way to stump all the defenders and the goalkeeper on the line for Western City Rangers, and we're about to see something similar. Grace Arnold stays on corner duty. Why not? After scoring direct from the last one. Emily Minette is lurking well beyond the back post here, so we might be about to see a very forcefully struck corner kick, although it has cleared out everyone at the near post. In it comes. It is in the direction of Minette. She gets an up and under header. Hyun clearing initially. Jackson reaching out for a volley. Now Smith. Keely Hook right on her case. Smith, though, very good at protecting the ball and draws a free kick. So stoppage time continues to tick by. We've had 2 additional minutes. Ball into the box, and Kirstanovski catching it right on the goal line and doing very well, balancing herself on landing, not to carry it over. Kirstanovski clears. It was about damage limitation between now and the finish line for the Western City Rangers. Avoided conceding a fifth there by about the width of the ball. Garlich with the throw-in. Alfaraja. Hold up to Garlich. Gentle comes in to defend from the front. Throw in down the line. Alfaraja and Kilbane clearing away. Immediate focus now for Manly United is banking the clean sheet. They've had just the one this season, back in round 2, 3-0 win against Sydney Olympic. Long throw here. Bouncing Arnold, an up and under clearance, bending to the line. Horsley's header to the edge of the box. Mostagimi challenging Minette. And now through comes Smith. She's been a very bright spark off the bench. Can't quite through Gentle here. Ball falls in midfield. Referee looks at the watch and allows play to continue. And a tumble against the line. And the full-time whistle goes. Manly United, comprehensive winners in the opening game of round 5 of NPL Women's New South Wales. Nicole Stewart with a double. And in the second half, they were able to really pump up the goal difference with Chloe O'Brien and Grace Arnold adding to the tally. Western City Rangers, a tough outing for them. And they now will go back to their home ground and play Apia Leichhardt next Sunday, while Manly United are on the road to face the Gladesville Ravens. Hope you've enjoyed the coverage. Don't forget, men's NPL, Manly United against Sydney FC is coming up from this very venue next, so keep it on the Football New South Wales YouTube channel. My name's Teo Pellizzeri, and as I say good evening to you on behalf of Sportscast Australia, our broadcast partner, that full-time score at Cromer Park, Manly United 4, Western City Rangers 0. Good evening.
Check, 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 check. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. That'll sound good. What are you going? That's master. That still gives me return though. Are you sure? Because I plugged into 3. Yeah, so that's not good. I got that in my head. In your head, in your head.
It should be hearing me. Not hearing me? Not hearing me.
What mutes me then? Let's. And that'll go levels. Lovely! I think I figured it out. No problem. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Let's take this all the way over there and keep on talking. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Let's go up, 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 up. I can give you more level if you want it. There, more level. More, 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 more. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Yeah, happy there. Cool.
for NPL New South Wales men between your Manly United FC and Sydney FC. The lines have been confirmed by both teams and they are as follows. For Sydney FC, number 1, Gus Hooslu. Number 3, Reef Farias. Number 4, Caitlin Marshall-Witt. Number 7, Jordan Goroshki. Number 14, Jared Middleton. Number 16, Miles Milner. Number 18, Ethan Dyer. Number 19, Mitch Glasson. Number 27, Lachlan Middleton. Number 29, Joe Lacey. And number 44, Akola Khan. And on the bench, number 8, Sam Lancaster. Number 10, Tay Headley. Number 30, Alexander Zavadinos. Number 33, Marin France. Number 34, Tyler Williams. And number 47, Corey Cronin. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the lineup for your Manly United FC. Number 2, Luca Creason. Number 3, Matt O'Donoghue. Number 4, Jesse Perez. Number 5, Aaron O'Driscoll. Number 7, Stefan de Robillard. Number 8, Kakero Ono. Number 9, Ben Coop. Number 10, Darcy Burgess. Number 18, Luke Neuenhoff. Number 33, Jasper Chipman. And number 99, Mackenzie Siren. And on the bench, number 6, Saxon Hillier. Number 11, Ayumu Kimura. Number 15, Max Martinello. Number 19, Kai Evans. Number 21, Harry Turner. Number 26, Yanis Ferrick. And number 32, Jared Muir. Those are the lineups for NPL New South Wales men's between your Manly United FC and Sydney FC. Kick off in a matter of minutes. Please welcome the two teams out of the field for NPL New South Wales men's, Sydney FC and your Manly United FC.
How are you, sir?
Ethan Dyer, Reed Farias, Jared Middleton and Miles Milliner. Lockie Middleton partnered by Joe Lacey in midfield. Kalen Marshall-Whitty making his starting debut in the NPL New South Wales men's after spending the all of last year in the under-20s at Manly United. A con on the left, as mentioned, with Glasson partnering Jordan Grodowski up front. So who will take the chocolates? A sweet treat for whoever manages it. The relegation wrestle can sneak up very quickly, as Manly United know all too well with their performances over the past couple of seasons. Funny enough, that 2022 campaign, when they made the grand final, a trio of teams that were in contention for silverware that year. They now occupy the bottom three places in the NPL New South Wales. Blacktown, Sydney Olympic, and Manly. Plenty of crossover between these two teams, as we'll get to. Kalen Marshall-Whitty, the latest of a long list to have made the trip from Cromer Park to Sky Park down the years. Basti Burgess winning his side an early free kick just inside their defensive half. It was integral to their strong start to this season. Sunfeld had captured career best form over the first month. Only have had less luck in their attacking third since then. Ben Coop restored to the starting lineup tonight is going to, well, Vlado Knezovic hopes anyway, be a big part of getting them going forward again. Turn the ball over there, and it's followed up by a free kick conceded by Chipman. His slight stature, and the fact he's only 19 years of age, is not one to shirk a tackle. Con trying to get onto the ball early. Good to see him back in Sydney FC colours again. Such an impact in his short stint in the A-League under Ufuk Talay. Departed for the Western Sydney Wanderers of all places. Trip backward of the one that a Con took. His NPL New South Wales men's first grade debut as a 15-year-old last year for the Western Sydney Wanderers. In his first 10 minutes across the city at Sydney FC, which he's received, but looking to get himself fit again. Getting back into their NPL setup tonight. Going to provide a stern test to Jesse Perez, former United skipper, playing it right back again. Coop trying to get onto this ball ahead of Farias. Unlucky to be sent off a couple of weeks ago with Farias against NSW. Was restored to the starting lineup straight away as part of that red card overturned. Luka Krisan back at the heart of Manly United's defence after missing last weekend. O'Driscoll. Perez, who's happy to take a forward dart. He started life as a midfielder, recapturing the glory days here. Rolling the ball wide for Kakeru Ono. He's got a good left foot and delivers accurately. Cooper took an air swing. Burgess takes it up. Didn't quite strike it as cleanly as you would have liked. I think Miller got a touch on the way through, so Whistler's touch didn't matter in the end. And an early corner for the hosts. What they needed. Both teams look improved on paper from the lineup sent out by their coaches a week ago. Availability a big part of the squad that Jimmy Van Weeren's able to put together. Manly United juggling some early injury concerns and fitness worries. All launched in deep by Ono. Starting in place of Kimura tonight. Japanese counterpart has a second bite at sending the ball in. Chipman's header advances the ball further, and eventually Ono got the strike on target. Looks like there was an arm in there at some stage from O'Driscoll, and a brilliant release from Herbstley, which has got Sydney FC going forward in counter-attack with Glasson. To do the unselfish thing and switch the angle of attack. Manly United got back in numbers well. Open start to this game, which is not always the case between these two teams. side held to nil in each of the last 3 encounters. Including that 6-0 victory that Sydney FC managed here last season. Actually played both games between these two here a year ago because of pitch availability issues down at the Illinois Sports Centre. As we mentioned, a lot of these Sydney FC NPL players coming out to the Manly United Association. Feels like a home day for a lot of them anyway. Their first foray forward, front of the far post. Plenty have gathered here tonight. Healthy crowd on Good Friday, you'd expect nothing less. Van Weeren bringing his team back here again tonight to a place he knows well. Another one that was a big part of Manly United's junior setup for a number of years. Curling ball and a free header, which was nodded wide of Mackenzie Ciron's post. I tell you what, he was happy it was as well. It was firmly met. The header from Miles Milliner, in fact. Didn't quite shave the upright, but even a happy return. Another one that's come out of this Manly United side, Milliner. The Manly United setup, I should say. Last season was the only call-up to underage Joey's squad from outside an A-League men's setup. Did their academy systems, and that was quickly rectified by Sydney FC, who snapped him up quick smart. Turnover again from Manly United, playing out of their own ends. It's been a consistent struggle for them in the opening 7 minutes or so. Sydney FC's press giving them some issues. Here's Jared Middleton striding out of defence. Cycling machine at Con, but yeah, a little while before he blows the cobwebs out. A month on the sideline will do that. Head-to-head with the experience of Jesse Perez is an easy task to take on either. Best right backs in the competition. Sheer weight of numbers forcing the turnover there as de Robillard tried to turn. Milliner wants to get on with things. Been lively early, darting about the pitch, the 16-year-old. Middleton, one of the more experienced for Sydney FC out there today, marshalling the defence. Milliner's ball in field. Borowski was trying to turn his way out of trouble, but Robillard, his opposite number, had his number. It's been a bit of a scrappy opening to this game, which is because of both teams' willingness to try and play through a very crowded midfield area. That's a better touch from McCon. Slipped away from Neuenhoff and then tried to take up the attack there. Touch betraying Alan Marshall-Whitty. Playing in front of his family on home turf tonight. The successful under-20 squad a year ago, which claimed the premiership in that age group. It's no mean feat when you're taking on A-League academies. United have done well to develop their 20s. Present in the transfer market as some others in this competition, so having to develop from within, something they do very well in both men's and women's competitions. Who is taking up the attack here after de Robillard had tried to basically bully his way forwards. so unhappy to go back to the air. That breeze is blowing towards Manly United's goal, so Sydney FC with the advantage when the ball is lobbed up in the air like that. Susan, still a young player in his own right, quickly figuring that out and firing the ball to the left-hand side. Where Donahue was waiting. Ciron measures that beautifully for Perez. And de Robillard got a stroke of luck with the ricochet. It's allowed Manly United to get forward with O'Donoghue. To the feet of Burgess, whose touch was a little heavy. Might be taken up by Ono here. And he took a deflection on the way through as well into the side netting. It's been a scrappy opening, but Manly United making the best of the last minute or so and getting just rewards in terms of a set piece here. Something traditionally in this competition, a lot of the senior sides have thought they'd be able to get the better of the NPL teams with. It's not really been the case over the past couple of seasons, but Manly United seeing if they can try and rewrite that old narrative as Burgess gets it into Coop, whose header grazed the post on the way past. Big chance for Manly United's number 9. Restored to the starting lineup tonight. Knezovic looking for that added attacking impetus. He nearly got it within the space of 12 minutes. This isn't the highest leap from Ben Coop either. He's a former Sydney FC Academy player himself. A number of years ago now. A very talented generation. One of the few remaining members of the team that went all the way to that 2022 grand final, along with Perez. So misdirecting that ball out to the left-hand side. Donahue, the target, second year back in Manly United colours after a stint away with the Western Sydney Wanderers Academy. Throughout this Manly United side that have spent time in league academies and then returned back to the Northern Beaches. So Sydney FC and Jimmy Van Wieren, encouraging start to the season, and then have just fallen off over the past couple of weeks. Four losses on the bounce. No need to panic just yet, but they've had their goal-scoring struggles over that period as well. Their last goal was against Wollongong Wolves. In the first of those losses, Borowski, the last goal scorer, after Mitch Blackson had started the season on fire. 3 goals in his first few games. And to return to goal-scoring form here today. Neat work down the right, and a crossing opportunity is deep and well dealt with by Perez, who flung himself at the football. Breeze just catching out Ciron, expecting the ball to curl away. Then it swung further into the 6-yard box with to the breeze that is blowing towards Ciron's goal. Sydney get a follow-up corner here, which again only finds the feet of Perez. Lacey retaining possession. Another bite to the cherry, fired in at the feet of the Irishman, Aaron O'Driscoll. In a while without Joe Lacey for Van Wieren as well. Good to have him back, the Curl Soccer Club Junior.
Joe playing left back.
Just struggling to play their way out at the moment, Manly. Every time Sydney FC have any sort of territory, they're just swarming forwards, white shirts everywhere. 16-year-old trying to link up in Con, eventually falls to a collar Con. Brought down in back play, that continue for now, and it nearly reached Glasson. Ciron read well. able to sweep up, and actually Zoe twinged something as he released that ball and stayed down in back play. Spinning on the football is Fares, who's to pick up the free kick, and I now think that the referee, Harriet G, is going to stop things so that Manly United's goalkeeper can receive some looking after. Result from earlier today in the New South Wales men's competition. Apia winning by 4-1 at Lambert Park against the Western Sydney Wanderers. That's taken them 2 points adrift of Sydney United ahead of that crunch clash with Marconi on Monday. Standalone game there, a slate of 4 games coming your way tomorrow on the Football New South Wales YouTube channel. Sydney Olympic taking on Sutherland Sharks at 5 o'clock. We've got 15 minutes to get that second screen set up for SD Raiders versus the Wollongong Wolves. Then a third screen needed for Spirit versus UNSW at 5:30, and then the nightcap is St George City hosting Blacktown out at Penshurst Park. This is a worry. Ciron not looking in a great way. Out of adversity springs opportunity. Harry Turner is being readied for a potential first-grade debut here. Been carried on the bench for every game this season by Vlado Knežević, but this is not a circumstance she'd want to hand him his debut. Under some pressure in the first 15 minutes or so. Ciron is going to try and continue. He's going to hand a thumbs up to his manager. So it's okay to continue. Reminder as well, to catch us on the socials across the weekend at NPL NSW on Instagram and X. NPL New South Wales on Facebook. Highlights of all the matches across men's and women's top tier competitions. Match reports, team of the week, all that good stuff you can find across the social media channels in 2026. I think it's a happy first history that's writing here in round 9 Sydney FC. They've started this game the brighter. Shy of 18 minutes play, but they don't want to be caught in a trap here. The pace of Coop is a worry for teams when they play out. Middleton did nicely, and this could create an attacking opportunity. Perez flying in on the former Manly United junior Milliner, quite rightly booked by Harriet G. Flew into that challenge, the Manly skipper. I tell you what, he might be a little fortunate that card wasn't a different colour. Zero hesitation and very late. It's not something you say too often about Jesse Perez. He's usually as calm and considered as any in the competition, but he got that one badly wrong. Sydney FC are going to try and reap some reward. Marshall Whitty, his first grade debut, slaloming and trying to play that ball forward to a corner. Looks as though he's got a fairly free roll across the final third for Jimmy Van Wieren tonight. He's on the ball again here, linking up with Lacey, and Chipman brings down Lacey this time. Being pressured through set pieces, the visitors, and they've got themselves another free kick here in a promising position.
No, you say, you know, yeah, you do. I reckon that's the first
torrid time dealing with the physicality and intensity of the academy outfit so far. As to some of the problems they've had over the last month. Manly United lost to Sutherland last week, the 3-1 defeat by Southern District Raiders, which was their first in the NPL New South Wales concern in itself. Defeats against St George FC and Western Sydney Wanderers here. A little less concerning, but the fact that the performances have dropped over the last couple of weeks as well. So they need to be at the races as this is delivered. Middleton had a free run at the ball at the back post. Just a little deep for him to get anything significant on target, but another warning shot fired across the bow. The Manly United back line absorbing an awful lot of pressure here in the opening 20 minutes or so. Alex Molchanoff with you tonight on the Football New South Wales YouTube channel. Thank you for spending your Good Friday evening with us. You've had a fantastic start to the long weekend. The rain has stayed away here in the northern beaches of Sydney, but there is a stiff breeze that's been blowing since the start of the women's 23s match here this afternoon. In the weather you quite associate with this area of New South Wales. Pretty good conditions for playing in that. Nice bit of build-up play from Manly United. Perhaps their best of the match as Neuenhoff strides through midfield to feed Coop. Turns it to Neuenhoff. Callum, of course, made his in Sydney FC's first team 4 or 5 years ago now. Donahue for Ono. Ono just not quite able to measure his pass to perfection there. Difficult to get those slide rule balls right. Particularly working with as little of an angle as he was there. Loose from Hoofsloots as Sydney FC tried to play out. As you were watching the Leichhardt game, saw the awful trouble the Wanderers got themselves into trying to play out past Presley Ortiz in the first half of that game. Set the foundations for their defeat. Managed to stay out of too much trouble just yet, but Matt O'Donoghue is trying to end that narrative. He picks up the ball high. Manly United's left back, Burgess. Ono fires it in low, and Friars had to get something there. Ben Coop is feeling in dangerous mood. He's just looking for that final touch at the minute. Presence enough to win his team another corner. Sydney FC, who've had the better of the opening quarter of this game, but Manly United have not had a shortage of opportunities to get forward. Quite as committed to getting numbers forward, except from these set pieces, which have been well directed so far by Burgess. Frizan and O'Driscoll are forward. Neuenhoff's there as well, and it's steered towards O'Driscoll. There was a crowd of bodies flying towards that ball at the back post. Coop and Frizan amongst them. I think it struck the young central defender. Ended up trickling behind safely for Gus Hoofsloot. Glassen's been well marshalled. He was trying to get off the shoulder of Frissan there as he recovered his defensive position. He's got an interesting background, Mitch Glassen. I think Steve was a world #1 lawn bowls player at one stage. So he's travelled the world. He's had a taste of overseas football in his young career. Was with KTP over in Finland for part of last year. Didn't have the worst return there either. Kong striding forward, and Chipman again bringing him to ground. A couple of times that Chipman's been for challenges like that in and around his penalty area, and tell you what, Lockie Middleton just making that point very clearly to Harriet G, the referee. tell you what, this would be pretty spectacular if Joe Lacey could find the back of the net from here. Best part of 40 yards, just two in the wall, and funks the ball into Darcy Burgess. He might have thought better of that option. I'll tell you what, there was a little get out of jail free card given to Marshall Whitty there as he looked to turn. Burgess had managed to nick the ball off with no one, but he between he and Herfslut in the Sydney FC goal. Again, Manly coming with a high press, and this time Burgess looks to have the beating of Farias. Draws the whistle, and Coop wants to go quickly because Ono's forwards. And Sydney FC have not left too many back, and he measured the pass for de Robillard. Brilliant challenge from Milliner. Sliding across in front of his goalkeeper. And perhaps preventing Manly from taking the lead. It was quick thinking from Coop. And nearly unlocks the young Sky Blues defence. Former Lucas Neal medal winner here, Ben Coop. He's had a few awards down the years across this football club. He'll even imprints as a more senior figure amongst this young team now. 25 this year. He's looking to get his head on this ball as well. Krizan was in there. Still not dealt with by Sydney FC, and eventually Chipman swung his boot at the ball and didn't catch it as cleanly as he would have liked.
Just a quick announcement. Can the owner of
Jimmy Van Wieren off his bench for the first time tonight. Too pleased. The defensive effort is
please return to your car and move it. The owner of a Navy sedan, number plate CYT90L, please return to your car. You are parked across the driveway.
Both have just turned a bit in the last 5 minutes or so. Manly United finding their feet. Tom's nudging field though might get Sydney FC going forward again. Isn't quite to be. Here's with a well-timed challenge. Krizan in front of the press of Gorowski, and then Marshall Whitty is bundled over by O'Donoghue. These two would have gone together in training a few times last season, and there's a couple of fairly healthy shoves shared between the players. Marshall Whitty's returning to his feet. He's been involved in everything so far in this debut. O'Donoghue might have just got away with one there. See, had plenty of numbers forward. So would he been able to continue? Just settle for this free kick. Tick towards the half-hour mark. It's been a funny old game on this Friday night so far. Still lacking a clear-cut chance for either team. A cod. That's past the all line. Every time a Colacon looks to straight into space, there's 2 or 3 blue shirts over in cover there. Well aware of the threat he offers. Only again trying to go in transition. Farias puts paid to that idea. Agricultural clearance. Krizan athletic to keep that ball in play for Manly United. And then Farias giving Burgess a good kick through the heels. I'll tell you what, it's becoming a
ladies and gentlemen, the owner of
bubbly.
a Navy Volkswagen sedan, number plate CYT90L,
It's just getting a little warmer than we might have expected in the opening half hour of this one.
Navy Volkswagen sedan CYT90L, please return to your car and move. You're parked in a no parking area.
Touch down there from Vlado Kinezovic. It's been one of the highlights of the first half. along with the performance of Milliner down this left-hand side. He's been so lively. Return to his junior club. We have 7 with Man United connections in the Sydney FC Academy side this evening. It's a number that's fluctuated around that for the last 4 or 5 seasons now. Farias not one of them, taking the ball away from Coop. Coop recovering, but his touch only took it as far as Middleton. Roski. Link up down that right hand side with Fire, I think it was. Mr. Nordberg. Neither team has been able to really establish a stranglehold over this game whatsoever. There's been flashes of brilliance from both teams, but commitment to their pressing patterns. A lot of this game on a very big pitch here at Cromer Park, one of the biggest in the competition, has been played in this very congested space. So the team's using no more than probably a sixth of the pitch at any one time. And brilliant technique and more than presence of mind to entangle themselves from those very congested areas. Ciron's footwork's letting down a little there. That clearance going up rather than out. Athletic have it from O'Donoghue to have something of it though. There's been a lot of play like this though, all bouncing awkwardly. Neither team really able to bring it under control. Middleton trying to do just that. He did it nicely. Glasson's flitted out to the left. Trying to get himself a bit more service up front. Has not seen too much of the ball so far tonight. There he was. Dyer down the right, and the cross is easily collected by the returning Manly United gloveman. Ciron has been well travelled over the past couple of years. Spent time with both St George outfits, City in League One, FC in the First Division last year after a quick spell away in Victoria. Their NPL competition down there. Coop got away from Farias, was bundled over, got the ball away to Burgess in the meantime. Ono's the outlet on the left-hand side, forced to turn back towards his own goal. Donoghue there in support. The cross is too deep for anyone wearing navy blue. White away strips just flooding back in cover every time it's asked of them. Full turnover from Miller, who's asking for more from Lacey. Neuenhoff takes up the attack for Manly United. Ono again. Just looked a little hesitant in these areas tonight. O'Donoghue. Gorgeous switch of play. De Robillard. That's a dangerous ball right into the avenue of apprehension. Coop couldn't make something of it. Still alive. Head tennis between a couple. Pires! Good technique. Well seen by Herflute. More than saving, managed to gather as well. All a bit chaotic. It almost turns the right outcome there for Jesse Pires and Manly United. 10 minutes till half-time. They want to play this in 10 minutes, putting Sydney FC's defence under pressure. No doubt, those half chances that are falling their way just build their confidence a little. Problems in front of goal through the first half of last season as well, but they managed to figure that out somewhat towards the back end of the year. Top scorer Farah Coco starting more and more regularly. He's now departed for Sydney United, where he's starring in red and white for the team on top of the table. Nice touch from Coop. Taking Farias into a wide area. Perez. Coop and Neuenhoff. Donahue. There's an exchange of passes with Ono. Has the cross. It's too deep for the initial attack. Perez. There's the low option. Not dealt with. And it might fall for Coop. Going to him quickly from de Robelard's deflected strike. This is better from Manly United, and as I say that, Perez with a rather wild loft into the air. Still, Chipman's won the second ball. And now O'Donoghue. Had a bit of venom behind that, but Herflute again, just as he did from his opposite fullback a moment ago, managed to see it all the way and gather cleanly. And Sydney FC playing themselves into real trouble at different times here. Looking like the young sides, what their average age suggests. And Neuenhoff! I'll tell you what, he's had his goal-scoring boots on so far this season, Luke Neuenhoff. And he almost forced a very athletic save from Herflute there. Happy to see the ball fly over his crossbar. But a few choice words for those in front of him. Some of the 50-50 balls and the physical battles falling the host's way. After they looked second best in the first 20, the preceding quarter of an hour has been played more often than not, and they're attacking half of the pitch, and the chances are starting to come in lots here for them. Coop always a willing runner, clever enough to slide Middleton under the ball. Jared it was coming across. Still only 19 years old, Jared Middleton. This is third campaign. Jimmy Van Wieren in the first grade setup here in the NPL. But second as a regular starter. Missed a start so far this season. Long throw from Perez. Pulling that clever enough after the first up miscue to clear the danger. One initially away from Chipman. Klassen happy to be wrestled to the ground by Crescent. There's a bit of both. He got him with the arm and with the leg outstretched. And he joins a growing number of Manly United players in Harriet G's notebook. And Perez have made their way in there in the opening 37 minutes. It's already his fourth booking of the season as well, Luca Crescent. So a bit of a tightrope in terms of an early suspension. Be less than helpful for Vlado Knezovic. Lacey takes the free kick. Beautiful shape on the cross. Well, Manly United heads converging to it. I'm sure that Klassen couldn't get there. Ball goes behind for a Sydney FC corner. So the pendulum swings back the visitors' way for just a moment. It's very clear what the plan is here for Sydney FC. Four crowded around Ciron. In swinging corner to be delivered. Oh, I'll tell you what, Ocon tried something tricky with the back heel. It didn't quite come off. And now de Robelard's trying to run away from Sydney FC defender back there. Marshall Whitty making the recovering run.
Harry Max 7. It's just you.
Brodsky getting a foot in, but it was too late. It caught de Robillard. He just swung his foot to the ball. A lot of those blind clearances. The team is keen to work the ball out from the back, with the exception of when Herflute has his foot on the ball for Sydney FC. Happy to defensively.
Zab, squad, Zab.
Oh, gorgeous touch from Ono. Seen flashes of this. How's the end product? Robilla was there, well read by Middleton. Can Burgess finish it off? Deflected it in! Boy, did they need that, Manly United. Darcy Burgess finds the finish. With the help of a healthy deflection. But given the mood here, not too many will care about that. Burgess wheeling away in celebration, and why not? It's been scrappy, it's been sorted at times. But Manly United have opened the scoring before half-time. Just what the doctor ordered for Vlado Knežević. Manly, who've been first to concede in each of their last 6, finally able to play front runner. And you just feel that suits them a little better as well. A team that's depended on their defence, particularly here at home, so consistently for the past 4 or 5 seasons. Principles set down by Adam Griffiths during his time at the club, coach of the Glory A-League men's team. Seemed to stick somewhat under another A-League men's defender in Patrick Svansvik, and now Vlado Knežević with the experience of O'Driscoll to lean on. His athleticism and application. Multiple player in Luca Krisan, and O'Donoghue seems to have won the battle for that left-back spot with Max Martinello for the moment. Got defending to do here though. So it's right inside the area, and Siron's forced into a good save at his near post. It was sharp from Marshall Whitty. Good turn at the edge of the area and stings the palms of the Manly United goalkeeper. Sydney FC finds something from the follow-up here as well. Another curling delivery towards Ciron, not dealt with by O'Driscoll. And I tell you what, Kurowski was right on the goalkeeper's toes and eventually flagged for offside. Daniel Kornowski, the assistant. In the infringement. Kornowski is a tough start to this game. Been able to get consistently in areas where his teammates have been able to find him with the football. Interesting to be a fly on the wall in the Sydney FC dressing room at half time, because there's no doubt they're capable of better than what they've produced so far in this first half, but they've only just been second best. Periods of this first half where they've by far looked the better team. These periods have been a little fleeting. Manly United, as we mentioned off the top of the broadcast tonight, in a position they were similar to last year, after a slow start, not wanting to be pulled into the tug and tussle down the bottom of the ladder. Relegation becomes a real possibility. Got some battle-hardened pros now at the club, as we mentioned, but it's always better to be playing with a little bit of freedom and safety in terms of the margin between you and the two teams playing the direct and the playoff relegation spots. A reminder, in NPL New South Wales, only the bottom team is sent down to League One automatically. The 5th season now of the promotion relegation playoff between the team that finishes second in that second division of New South Wales State football and the second bottom finishers of this competition. So that battle is going to be closely contested again. 7 or 8 teams last year were right in the mix until late. NSW finishing top in an automatic spot. SD Raiders winning a two-legged playoff against the Central Coast Mariners Academy to secure their place in this competition. Both in action tomorrow on the Football New South Wales YouTube channel. 2 minutes to be added on.
At least 2 minutes on time added
Fourth
on.
official Alex Sastanikovic tells us. United, I think, will be very happy to get off the pitch and regroup. It's been scrappy fare for the opening 3/4 of an hour. It's much better to go into the break a goal up than a goal down. Any coach will tell you that. Coop into a compromising challenge with Middleton, and they get a second bite. That was a subtle touch from Coop to release Ono. Brings it up for Neuenhoff, who's not afraid of a strike at goal from long distance. Runs in the family, I think. What's his best effort there? So Sydney FC trying to be consistent with their build-up here. Looking at the shape of a back three much more often than a back four tonight, but it's not quite unpicked. Manly United, I think, in the way Coach Van Wieren and hope. So a bit to think about as both teams head to the changing rooms. Promising signs for both, much to improve on for both. But it was Darcy Burgess who opened the scoring, continuing his fine start to this NPL New South Wales men's season, and giving Manly United a very important goal as they search for their first win in 5. Half time here at Cromer Park, the second game of our Good Friday double, and it's Manly United who lead Sydney FC by a goal to nil. Welcome back to Cromer Park. Second half of this Good Friday clash between Manly United and Sydney FC about to get underway. First half strike from Darcy Burgess separating the two teams at the break. Second of the year for Manly United's number 10. Seventh for the club since moving across from Sydney Olympic a couple of seasons ago. So plenty to think about for Jimmy Van Wieren and his staff at the break. Plenty of promise in the performance, but it's finding the back of the net themselves. Mitch Glasson and Jordan Grabowski looking a little bit isolated up front at different stages through the first half. They've made a half-time substitution. Tay Headley has joined us. With Brighton missing a start for the first time this season. Making his way on after that first 10 minutes, and a turnover from Corey Cronin as well, who's made his way on.
At half-time, coming over the field, number 8, Sam Lancaster, number 10,
Sam Lancaster
Tay
headed
Headley,
over the
and number
channel in there
47,
as the
Corey
final one
Cronin.
of those changes.
And the players coming off
So
the field
attacking
for
in
Sydney
numbers.
half-time, number 16, Miles Milner, number 27, Lachlan Middleton, and number 44, Akola Khan.
Con, Lachlan Middleton and Miles Milliner, the three removed. Con in his return from a short stint after the side with injury, so building those minutes back up. So Headley moving into his role. No change in formation though from Jimmy Van Wieren. He's sticking with that back three that started this game. With Farias being flanked by Middleton and the New Zealand under-16 international Ethan Dyer. Playing as part of the Emerging Socceroos Championships with New South Wales, so he's got a decision to make down the track. He progresses as Sydney FC hope he does over the next few years. 16-year-old. Got defending to do here as de Robillard gets forward. Cronin back doing some defending. Who broke into Manly United's first team last year under Patrick Zwanswijk. He's turned the ball over in a defensive area here. De Robillard bundled over by him. Ball comes to the edge of the box. Chipman is trying to bludgeon their way through the Sydney FC defence at the start of this second half, Manly United, but playing it in their attacking third. Knezovic, who travelling along the edge of his technical area. Lost the first half. Is looking rather calmer at the start of the second. With this goal advantage to defend. Certainly not looking to sit on that lead if the opening stages of this second half are anything to go by. Perez. Ball for de Robillard, well cut out by Middleton, but not able to clear as he might have liked. So Manly will look to manage their way through their second half now. You see it even by the lack of gusto that Jesse Perez has shown in wandering over to take this throw, which is launched directed. O'Driscoll forces a very sharp save from Erbsloot. At his near post, yes, but it came to him so quickly. O'Driscoll showing good reactions to steer the ball on target and nearly doubled Manly United's lead. 32 games in all competitions for Manly United last season. O'Driscoll hasn't missed a start yet this year. Well, he had his first goal of the new campaign. There's body hitting the turf in the middle of the area. Ben Coote went down. Ball travelled past him in any case, and Chipman couldn't keep it in play. promising start to the second half for the hosts. They're looking for just that, sitting as we came into the night. Just a point outside the relegation playoff spots. Early season, yes, but you don't want to be caught with commentators saying that sentence as the season goes on for too long. Shipman holding up Grabowski, but Joshua fouled him again. Had the ire of Harriet G, our referee tonight, directed towards him at a couple of points. Jasper Chipman to be awarded a yellow card though. Krizan is one of those in the book that takes that bouncing ball to perfection with Headley in close attendance. It's a scorer here on their last trip. Sydney FC, Tay Headley. The other scorer is McAllister, put 5 past the host that night. Father Dillon, a bit of history at this ground as well. Grand final winner back in 2017. And his last piece of major silverware at first grade level. Headley, it's been lively since coming on at the break. Neuenhoff winning the ball cleanly, but it was the first tug on the shirt that the referee has pulled up. Need to stop Tay Headley by fair means or foul there, and this time Ben Coop dragging down Reef Farias. Couple of consecutive free kicks that Sydney FC have taken short. Lacey wearing the captain's armband tonight. Not able to play his way through trouble. Coop turning inside. Burgess. This goal separates the two teams. He's lining up again. Couldn't force a save of the turf salute on this occasion. Apologies, it's Mitch Klassen wearing the captain's armband for Sydney FC tonight. Just I saw a glint of yellow in the light on Lacey's arm. Not the case. He's familiar with this ground though. Played a lot of junior grand finals with Curl, where he grew up. He's great mates with Marin France, who's on the touchline ready to be used in reserve tonight. Lacey's rise to some stardom came almost a year ago now. Friendly against Wrexham, where he scored the winner of a darts Allianz Stadium. Terrific showcase for football amongst his home community tonight on the northern beaches. There's a lovely facility here at Cromer Park. Too many better vantage points than the Lucas Neal stand to watch NPL football. Punching challenge from Farias on Coop. You could hear the clatter of shin pads from right up the top of that Lucas Neal stand. Farias for his trouble. Has his name taken by the referee. First booking going Sydney FC's way tonight, and a couple handed out to Manly United over the first 45 minutes. Mentioned in the first half that situation that Farias got himself in UNSW against UNSW a couple of weeks ago. Red card overturned. Watson with a heavy touch as he tried to stride through midfield, cut off by Neuenhoff. Bailed out by Dyer. Neuenhoff showing composure beyond his years, winning his way into the first team for round one. And has not relinquished his position. He's been used in a couple of different roles by Lado Knezovic as well. Krizan out last week. He started in the heart of defence alongside Aaron O'Driscoll. Well, that didn't quite go as they would have liked, considering the 3 goals over the course of the 90 minutes. Seymour short. Speaking of lovely facilities, that's one of the best in the States at the moment now as well. Burgess striding forward, Neuenhoff. Arias looked to have brought him down. Play on to the referee, and Coop's strike takes what looked like a pretty big deflection. Loops over the top of Hussluit's net. And he's again leading the Inquisition amongst his backline as to quite how Manly United were just able to dribble through the heart of their midfield. There's been a couple of occasions where it's looked a little too easy for the hosts in that area of the pitch. First 10 minutes of this second half have gone their way. I'd love to add an exclamation point by finding the back of the net for a second time this evening. Burgess, the goal scorer, over to this near side. And again, there's pushing and shoving in front of Hussluit. So Harriet G is going to come and have a conversation with Jasper Chipman. Looks like Dyer, his marker. A few times this season that Jasper Chipman will be well and truly the senior of the pairing. 19-year-old against a 16-year-old. Burgess now to deliver. It's a dangerous one. Hussluit read it well. A solid fist to the ball. Ono recycles. Burgess has a second bite. That's better directed. And Krizan rose highest above the pack of white shirts. Or just an inch or two too high for him to get the purchase he was looking for and direct the ball on target. Another attack seen off by Sydney FC. It's the lack of quality that they're generating down the other end that will be the worry. Going to press their way to glory now, with Manly United protecting a 0-0 lead. Most of the risk will be taken out of their play in this sort of area. More angled balls like that towards de Robillard. This one brings a quite welcome free kick. He's had an interesting career so far. Stefan de Robillard was put to the Bulls Academy system, still known as the North Shore Mariners that long ago. He's a very young player. A couple of seasons with Sydney United's first team. Now at Manly, looking to establish himself as a senior player and a regular starter. It's a poor turnover, and Chipman might have a shooting chance. He slides it through for Coop, who's bundled over, and it looks shoulder to shoulder from here. And in Coop's defence, he didn't really appeal. Out-muscled really by Dyer, who was better balanced. And what looked a pretty fair challenge. Good decision from Harriet G. A little bit of a concern just how easy it was for Coop to slide into a channel between a couple of the three centre-backs. The design of that system is that opportunities like that don't arise. The system tonight hasn't quite looked as smooth as maybe Jimmy Van Ruren would have liked. Coops chasing another long ball into the corner. Arias happy to dispatch of it over the touchline. And they've adjusted well. I'm not sure that this is exactly the setup they would have been expecting. It's a pretty strong lineup for Jimmy Van Ruren that he's sent out tonight. It's staring down the barrel of a fifth straight defeat now, the young Sky Blues. Unless they can turn things around in the final half hour or so. Particularly if Manly are going to be content with a bit of kick and chase as they have in the past 5 minutes or so. They have to stick to their principles, look patiently, and avoid the press. We talked about in the first half these congested areas that both teams were happy to set up. Now that Manly have got the opening goal, it really favours them significantly. The game continues to be played in that pattern. So Driscoll's ball floated towards Ono. Dyer dealing with the first ball. Farias having to help out, but he didn't really clear either. And Ono just fires it into Dyer. Happy enough for Manly United to end up with another set piece. They'll be delighted for the final half hour to carry out like this. The hosts. Treble substitution by Jim Van Wieren at half-time. Didn't feature Marin France, who is being readied. His direct running power. Who has consistently impressed at this level over the past 12 to 18 months. He's defending to do first, although Burgess's delivery this time didn't ask the questions that Burnley would have liked. France is just going to be asked to take a moment longer before substitution can be executed. Half an hour to play here. Manly United given their goal-to-nil advantage by Darcy Burgess, his second of the season, a deflected effort in the shadows of half-time. Comfortable with that lead seat. It is an attacking change, so Van going away from the back three by the looks of things. France the more attacking option, or will he slide Marshall Whitty back into one of those central defensive roles? We'll just have to wait and see. One of the more experienced of this Sydney FC Academy side now. Present NPL first grade team for the last 3 seasons now. Burgess and de Robillard linking up nicely. Middleton pursuing de Robillard, but he's escaped his clutches. And fires the ball into a couple of white shirts, converging at the near post ahead of Hurfsloot. Manly United continuing to build pressure through these set pieces. Been disciplined, dogged attack. Not something you often say about that area of the field, but Manly United have just been asking questions of the young Sky Blues. Not quite had the answers so far this evening. Ono's ball in towards O'Driscoll, drifting back, and Hurfsloot with a brave take in front of Nieuwenhof. Distribution just holding up in the wind. I'm not sure how much France knew about his first touch, but it was a beauty. And then he's brought to the turf by O'Donoghue. Couple back in cover means a yellow card. All that was required. Well, they made their own luck there, Sydney FC. Hurfsloot with the big hoof down the other end. France putting himself about. Ball struck him on the backside, took him into a dangerous area, and now they've got a free kick about 30 yards from goal. Needs must. Mackenzie Ciron has 4 in the wall, with Corey Cronin and Joe Lacey, the 2-man committee. Cronin trusted to strike it straight into the wall. Disappointing effort. Heavily makes something of it. Ono doing well to ensure the attack didn't progress further. And then France holding out Jasper Chipman, with bodies lying prone aplenty across the turf. G's happy to stop play and just see to everybody's well-being before we get things back underway. Manly United can hang on from here. They'll be all the more grateful because of the busyness of the schedule, which is going to start to ramp up with cup football now. The game here on Tuesday nights against Carter Association's Mount Annan Mustangs. 7:30 kickoff, and then they follow that with a trip to Belmore. Could set the tone for the remainder of both those clubs' seasons. Been captured amongst this bottom 3 battle early in the season. This result holds Manly United would somewhat drag themselves out of that. Once Blacktown do manage to get the better of a woefully out of sorts St George City team at Penshurst Park tomorrow night. That could change the complexion of things. Sydney Olympic hosting a Sutherland Sharks team that seem to be finding their feet after a slow start to the season. all the off-season hype. It's taken a while for things to come to fruition on turf, but actually under the guidance of David Perkovic, all seems to be coming together. Jasper Chipman, who'd gone off to have a cut treated, looks to have done that, so he's back with us. There's been a lot of this, bouncing balls, miscontrols, flying through the sky to basically just ensure that territory is in favour of the team that wins the 50-50. It's not been one for the purists tonight. Plenty of intent and energy in tight areas like that, though. Harriet G's had a busy night with the whistle. And Darcy Burgess giving away the free kick. One sloppy from Headley. Barely put a foot wrong since coming on at half-time. That was not his best moment. Only from the Central Coast Mariners Academy, where he had such leaps and bounds a couple of seasons ago. Just a stumble there from Jared Middleton, who did well to regain his grounds, and then stuck out to boots and conceded the free kick anyway. I'd love to see just how many incidents Jasper Chipman has been involved in tonight in terms of fouls conceded and fouls suffered. There's been a fair few of both for his 19-year-old startlet. In Germany on trials with a few professional clubs midway through last season. I thought around here that they might lose him at one stage. Happy to still have him here in April of 2026. Forward heading this ball towards Ben Coop, strapped away by Middleton, forced back forward by Pires without any navy blue shirts in attendance. Quarter of the game left to play. Darcy Burgess's goal just before half-time, still the only time the scorers have been troubled. Absolute save from the Driscoll header 10 minutes after half-time. It's about the only serious opportunity that either team has been able to muster in the second half either. Ball comes from the Sydney FC bench for their team to press as they chase this equaliser. Coop playing holder. Sloppy touch from de Robillard. And Headley again with a misdirected pass. It's on a different page to Mitch Glasson, who's really had a touch in this second half. Switch of play from Pires was very well read by Marshall Whitty, and he's just lobbed that in behind for Headley. And Marshall Whitty took up the attack again and goes over under the challenge of Nieuwenhof. Another lunging tackle from a Manly United player, and it's going to see the name taken by the referee. Nieuwenhof on his teammate for the majority of last season, Marshall Whitty. Successful Manly under-20s premiership winning side. Note to that season as they weren't able to make the grand final. Apia and Marconi contesting that for the final series, but the achievement no less remarkable. Once he going short from the set piece, Headley delivering with his less favoured left. Gianono and de Robillard combining just to run the ball out of danger. Burgess, the coolest head out there tonight, and just looked a step ahead of his opposition. So one young startlet for another for Vlado Knežević. Jasper Chipman's had a feisty evening. The calm, cool ball playing we've come to know him for, but a tidy 70 minutes work. Saxon Hillier is going to run out this game. So his problems with calf injuries and different leg issues over his last 12 months, which he spent the majority of with the Western Sydney Wanderers Academy after a fine 2024 campaign under Patrick Zwanswijk. Turning to Manly in 2026, has been in and out of the starting lineup. Partnered Chipman at different times. And a three with Neuenhoff at others. Looking for his running foul to see out this last 20 minutes. Maybe Coop can lay off a shooting opportunity for him, not quite on that occasion, but he retains possession. Neuenhoff was trying something clever. Mind was quicker than his feet. Loose pass from Marin France, who had green grass in front of him and wasn't too willing to take it on. I mentioned that Jim Van Wieren might be moving under that back three. He certainly hasn't to this point. Only sticking with that for now. And Ono might be onto a loose ball here. Jared Middleton across in the nick of time. How much Coop knew about that touch, but it took the ball into an area that suddenly became awkward for the Sydney FC defence. It's been a night where moments like that have looked as though they might prove decisive. Alex Molchanoff along with you on the Football New South Wales YouTube channel. Just under 20 minutes to play. Michael Woody getting a bit of Ono, but more of the ball according to the referee. Just the throw for Manly United. As for Sydney FC, mentioned Manly's congested fixture. At least they don't have to worry about that. But in terms of cup football, but hosting St George FC at London next weekend. All makes its way towards Turf League. Underlying physicality we've seen to this game. Players just crowding around the ball, trying to bash each other out of the way. This time it's Krizan crashing the pack. Neuenhoff emerges with the football. Not as crafty as we've seen from him on different occasions. That game against St George. Sydney FC next weekend, hosting them at the Illington Sports Centre. That might be a difficult task, but then Blacktown, Sutherland and St George City, present 3 games they'll feel as though it's a better performance they might be able to take points away from. They've got to turn the tide at some stage over the next month or so. They will become embroiled in that dreaded relegation scrap. Krizan's looked calm, and his return to the first team tonight for Vlado Knežević. Deals with another bouncing ball nicely. And Dorobalai's looking to get his team going forward. Ono stretching, but not able to keep the ball in play. Worrying thing for Jimmy Van Wieren now that tonight's action is the wait for a goal going on and on. Maybe more than 6 hours without one. They do get to the end of the night without finding the back of the net. An equaliser would be precious at this point. A lot of balls like that, just a little bit directionless. John Grodowski and Mitch Glasson have been feeding on scraps up front. Headley for Lancaster. Has Tasmanian-born midfielder. Superior's going the least cultured option with his clearance. Lacey trying to get a bit too clever with his old mate Marin France. A look of frustration from one to the other. Picked up by Dyer though, and this might get them going into a promising position. They've got numbers here, Sydney FC. Cronin just wandering over the football though. Glasson looking up with Headley. This is better. So crowded in there though. Still Glasson trying to bustle and bustle his way through. Still on parts of the sea of blue shirts and claims the football. 15 minutes to find some joy for the visitors. It's as though they're growing in confidence somewhat. Manly United have taken their foot off the pedal in terms of really trying to show the impetus and try and get a second as this second half has worn on. Good advanced ball from O'Donoghue though. Wobbler ducking in off the right. Burgess. O'Donoghue, has he measured it? Not quite. Burgess's goal just before half-time took a stroke of luck on its way to beating Gus Herfsleut. And what has become a continually very packed penalty area. It's as though Sydney FC need one of those moments to go their way if they are to trouble the scorers tonight. Maybe Cronin can provide it towards Glasson, away by Crezan. And further mopped up by Hillier. What can the young Sky Blues build? Point as precious as it would be for them on the table. Just mean a little bit more confidence for a team that's looked a little bit devoid of it this evening. All their talent and intensity. Manly United always present a stern defensive test at home. They need creativity like Mitch Glasson's given them here. And the running power of Marin France. Edge of the box, Grodorowski. Returns it to Glasson, who started the attack. Is this the moment? Couldn't steer the cross to a white shirt. Hillier clears up the danger. And Coop has copped a bit of a beating as he to drop deep and play hold up. So his captain, Jesse Perez, happy to knock the ball over the touchline. It also fulfills the need of, or the desire rather, to just slow the tempo of this second half as Sydney FC looked as though they were getting a roll on. Manly crying for a free kick. Thought they should have had one. Not to be. Reminder of those 4 games coming your way tomorrow on the Football New South Wales YouTube channel. Sydney Olympic versus Sutherland at 5 o'clock from Belmore. SD Raiders versus Wollongong. 5:15 from Ernie Smith Reserve. And Spirit FC against UNSW at 5:30. St George City versus Blacktown, the nightcap at 7:15. Then on Sunday, we've got the lone fixture down at Illingdon Sports Centre. Rockdale, Illingdon sitting 5th coming into the weekend, taking on St George FC in 4th. Both those teams looking to haul themselves back into the premiership picture. St George, after going 6 games without conceding to open the season, have copped 5 goals over their last 2. Scoop trudges off. And then a battle between, well, what would be the top 2 if Marconi were able to get a result against Sydney United on Monday, as it is first versus third. The original rivalry, as I like to call it. The inaugural Ron Corrie Cup, up for grabs on Easter Monday. That kick off at 3 p.m. It's off at Teo Palizzeri. We'll be there watching the action for you in the weekend's nominal match of the round. Always an occasion particularly at Adenza Park, and particularly with the crowds we've been seeing turn up to games there so far this season. Plenty across the competition, understate, very excited for Monday. 10 minutes to go here of regular time at Cromer Park though. Darcy Burgess, the lone goal scorer. Sydney FC chasing her first points for more than a month. Sydney FC's wait's been just a little bit longer. It'll take something of a collapse now for them to relinquish all three of the points that they have a hold of at the moment. A couple of changes being readied by Vlado Knezovic, Kai Evans and Yumu Kimura. Both starters last weekend, but have lost their spots. Full fight towards Kirby's touch just betrayed him. It's a cheap turnover deep in their own half from Lacey. He's not had his finest evening, must be said. De Robillard looking to get to the byline. Middleton across in cover nicely. He's very well disciplined. Stood up and made sure the cross couldn't be delivered. Desired accuracy, so a double change. Kimura, as we mentioned, De Robillard has worked very hard in this second half. And Cooper just gone down. And needed treatment is his night ended. Done a lot of the dirty work this evening for Vlado Knezovic, exactly what he was looking for. And to cleaned up a couple of opportunities a week ago. That's it. Strike his first blow in 2026. He makes his way on. And from the healthy Good Friday crowd here at Cromer Park. Robillard's taken his time getting off the field. He is there. And Gus Herfsler can get things going. I'll tell you what, with the stoppages we've had in the last 10 minutes, so we're going to get a fair bit of stoppage time for Sydney FC to chase this equaliser. I don't think the game's been run out just yet. Another stoppage, this time for a Sydney FC change.
Substitution for Sydney FC.
Road for Ethan Dyer.
Number 18, Ethan Dyer, and coming onto the field, number 34, Tyler Williams.
Experienced Tyler Williams. He's been part of the Sydney FC system for a couple of seasons now as well. Cronin picking the ball up off Kimura's certainly lacking header. Jared Middleton. These fresh legs bring the quality needed for Jim Van Weeren. Nice ball from Marin France, read by Luke Neuenhoff, who got the better of Marshall Whitty. The follow-up was quite as impressive. Marshall Whitty, well, the best directed ball, but might end up okay for Sydney FC. Cronin trying to keep the attack alive. Easily picked off by Chrisan. Now Evans having to act in that hold-up role. Quite as sure of touch as the man he replaced. Headley. This is a shooting chance for Lacey. I'll tell you what, he's got a capability to hit the back of the net from there. Just rushed his effort a little, snatched at the chance, cut across the football, and it swerves well wide of Suron's left-hand post. Holds his head to the heavens. Maybe that's just the warning sign for Manly United. Cannot continue to give up free shooting opportunities like that with 6 minutes of regular time. Who knows how many are going to be added on. There's the opinion up here that it's going to be a fair few. Sydney FC looking a little more invigorated. Still searching for this long-awaited goal. Cheap turnovers like that won't help. Easily picked off by O'Driscoll. They're 4-on-2 here if they play it right, Manly United. Evans took an extra touch, got him away from Marshall Whitty's sliding challenge. Still there goes Kai Evans. And it was a rather wild effort, all things considered. A lack of pace and footwork, but the end product was lacking. Perhaps one or two in the crowd hoping he'd go to the corner instead. Need some time off the clock. Not to be, and so Sydney FC can try and build from the back again. France. Ian Lacey linking up nicely. Lacey, another loose pass though. Followed up by another from Williams. It's fallen for Neuenhoff. Burgess with Ono outside him. Eventually delivered it to the Japanese midfielder, and he found Kimura, who turns the ball over from 6 yards. Brilliant cross from Kakeru Ono, looking for the finishing touch, and Kimura off the bench couldn't find his first goal in Manly United colours. Was so prolific for Gungahlin last campaign down in the NPL Capital Football. Didn't show off quite that nose for goal. Another check turnover from Sydney FC. They're being pegged back in their own half here. It looks only a matter of time. Kimura close in attendance again. Middleton clears the danger. And perhaps this is the go forward that they needed. Was it a slingshot from their own half? Headley. Held up eventually by retreating blue shirts. Williams for Glasson, who's taken up a freer role as the 90 minutes has worn on, looking to get on the football as much as possible. Headley again. Crunching challenge from Neuenhoff. Beautifully timed. Again, Manly United 4-on-2. This time Burgess with the football. Ono. Will he go for goal himself? Kakeru Ono does. And it's a very good sliding block from Glasson. Attack's still alive, and Evans launches the ball over the crossbar for the second time in a matter of moments. It's wild and woolly stuff in the closing stages here at Cromer Park. I don't think you can describe either team as being particularly efficient this evening in terms of the attacking opportunities. Again, Sydney FC with a cheap turnover through midfield. This time Lancaster not punished for pondering over the football. Lacey. Oh, there's the cutting pass they've been looking for. Has France got the pace to get there? He did, but O'Donoghue, brilliant. Positioning, desire. At the end of a tiring 90 minutes, he still had the appetite for the battle. And the nous to win out over his younger opponent. Through a healthy hand from the Manly United crowd, fittingly sitting in the Lucas Neal stands. I think the man for whom it was named would have been proud of that challenge. So just time to see out. Manly United hoping less and less of those opportunities abound. It is partly of their own making. They're just helping out by winning things in the air, not what he's known for. Centering ball turns his action over again. Well, it might be best advice just to keep the ball between them here for the final 5 minutes or so. Furious turns it over though. Headley for Lacey. Increasingly looks as though he's the man to try and unpick this Manly United defence. Looking up with his old mate, Marin France. Teammates since their very junior days at Curl. Lacey again. dribbling through a couple, went to ground under the challenge of Evans. And just that willingness to run at defenders has given Sydney FC a potential opportunity here. We tick towards stoppage time. Jared Muir is being readied. His opportunity will have to wait for just a moment. Lacey again is over the football. 4 in the wall for Ciron. That's been the way so far this evening. Cronin thumped one into the wall a moment ago. This is one off the training ground. Glasson sticking the ball to the top of the box. Skoroski. In fact, it was Headley straight into the turf. That made it easy for Ciron. 4 minutes, just 4 minutes for Sydney FC to find an equaliser. I'd have thought they deserved a moment or two more. Not to be. Ball is precious, but they can't be afraid to turn it over now. They need it in this attacking third for as much of the 4 minutes as possible. Glasson's in a dangerous position, and he slipped it past Ciron. Incredible! The weight of pressure finally pays. It's a horror moment for Ciron, who looked to have it covered. And it's an equaliser that has taken the air right out of Cromer Park. From nothing. A little link up down the right. And Manly United with 3 points in their grasp. Perhaps let it slip between their fingers. You're on for Kakero Ono. That may just be the postscript. That is not the headline. With a minute and a half or so left to play. Now Sydney FC might feel they can go and get all 3 in the closing stages. Foul from Marshall Whitty hasn't helped that cause. It's been a scrappy game of football. Perhaps it hasn't deserved a winner. Mackenzie Ciron will be apoplectic with himself. Keeper of his quality, he will have felt. He should have been keeping that out. Hurslute beaten by a deflection in the first half. Certainly haven't been 2 picture book goals, but they have a telling influence on how both these teams reel out of tonight's action. Manly United readying themselves for that cup tie against Mount Annan on Tuesday night. Would love to do it with all 3 points. Still they have time. Neuenhoff dribbled through 3 or 4 there, eventually brought to a hole by Lancaster. That's unfolded here tonight. A minute to find a winner. Both teams looking pretty keen to do so. Muir's just booted the ball away. Need a little bit more time off the clock. Lacey goes down under a tough Kimura challenge with no advantage there. The referee's quite right to stop play. All more in hope than anticipation, but it's given France something to run for. Oh no, Donahue just getting a little casual over the ball for a moment there. Kimura easing Williams off the ball. Evans battering Middleton off it. I'm not sure whether the referee's actually awarded a free kick here. Just more worried about a head injury for Jared Middleton. Indeed, Sydney FC are going to get the ball back through a drop ball. Both players flew into that challenge. We're into a 5th minute of added time here. Beyond the 4 allotted. Sydney FC's equaliser coming in the 92nd minute through Mitchell Glasson, his 4th of the season. moving him towards the top of the Golden Boot race. Well, plenty of bruises, plenty of tired legs, but no winner here at Cromer Park. A goal in each half. Burgess with 4 minutes to go until half-time, with the help of a deflection, giving Manly United a deserved lead, but Sydney FC battled their way back in the second half, and eventually the pressure paid. Mitch Glasser with his 4th of the year. Lindsay Ciron disappointed with his efforts in the United goal. Probably a game, in all fairness, that didn't deserve a winner here at Cromer Park on Good Friday. It's just an okay result for both. It finishes on the Northern Beaches. Manly United 1, Sydney FC 1.